Oh my God. So James Gunn just responded to my tweet. So today I got bad news. There's no way to say it. It's all bad news today, and it's about the Batman. It has been pushed back to until October 1st, 2027. We've been hyped for the Batman to come out in 2025, and now it's starting to feel like it's a bad joke. And honestly, I don't know. It doesn't feel good, and it's not a good look for Matt Reeves either, or the DCU, or James Gunn, or Warner Brothers, whoever you want to blame. It's not a good look. And listen, and at the same time, to be fair, I get it. Reeves is a visionary director. He wants everything to be perfect. He's probably agonizing over every little detail, every line of dialogue, every camera angle. But come on, this is getting a little bit ridiculous. Fans are getting relentless, including me. We want to see this movie, and we thought we were getting it in 2025. So this constant pushing back in 2026, I'm sorry. In this constant pushing back, it's starting to feel like it's disrespectful to the fans. Me personally, who made this film a success. Not a success, a massive success. And it honestly, it feels like you are dangling a batarang in front of us and then snatching it away and again and again and again, because this film has been pushed back a couple of times. Now, I'm all for giving this artist time that they need to create its masterpiece, but at what cost? Because honestly, it's Reeves' insatiable perfections. Is this going to kill the hype for this film? Now, let's speculate a little bit, because this can go a lot of ways, and I've already seen all the reaction on social media. Could this delay be a sign of something bigger? Is the Batman Part 2, which now is not even called the Batman Part 2, and I don't think it was ever officially called Batman Part 2. I think that was something that Matt Reeves said in an interview. Now, can this film be retrofitted right now to fit into James Gunn DCU, especially after Matt Reeves has seen how much the DCU is thriving right now? Or maybe Reeves is reworking behind the scenes to connect his gritty Gotham to the wider DCU. That is one thing that everybody's kind of writing on. And we'll talk about it a little bit more in a couple of seconds, because I'm going to share some social media reaction as far as this. Because, yeah, a lot of people are more inclined that this is what's happening, that he is retrofitting or changing or reworking the film that he had in mind to kind of fit into the DCU. Or at the same time, could this be a whole completely different kind of problem? Andy Muschietti said today in an interview, I think the name of the podcast was the California Secreta podcast. It's a Spanish podcast, where he said that he's planning another film before he goes into Brave with the Bold. He actually see the Batman film won't be happening for a while, and he might make a smaller film before then. Now, does this mean that there's going to be more delays for Batman Brave with the Bold? And will Muschietti even direct the film? But I'm always try to be a little bit more optimistic, and maybe, just maybe, this is all about giving Matt Reeves time to finish both of his films, so he could shoot them back to back, thus allowing Muschietti to jump into these projects and then eventually direct the Brave and the Bold. It looks like it's gonna be a long game anyway, and it's gonna be a very long game. That's undeniable. And if this universe does emerge, I can tell you safely that we're not gonna see the Brave and the Bold until sometime 2030. Right, so let's get into some of the social reactions. So this is something that Brandon Davis said is happening. So I guess he also thinks that the Batman is going to be brought into the DCU. This is another thing that Brandon Davis said. I'm wondering if this late announcement Gunn and Safran dropped a year ago was pushed on them by the studio, because many of us made it feel like we needed a year-long plan to get our interest. And that's a very good possibility. That's a good, could also be it could be also a learning experience. I think it's messy. It's messy over there. Yeah, it could be. That's a possibility. It could be that. So I say, listen, a lot of people are losing faith in the DCEU. We need to give them a plan, so that way they feel that this is something new, that we're gonna get all these projects. So let them know, yes, there's a new Batman, there's a new Wonder Woman, there's a new Green Lantern, and all these things to make them excited for what's in store for the DCU. So that way people get on board with this new universe. So probably James Gunn didn't want to reveal that far ahead, because even if you go watch that video, you can tell that it was edited out. Like it felt like there was a whole lot more, but he was like, no, cut this out, this is too far off, no, cut this out. Because like, if you watch it, go and watch that video again and you'll see what I'm talking about. The way that it was edited, there was so much stuff that it just didn't fit. It was like a lot of cuts that were jumped, and he's an editor, he knows editing, so probably he did that very in the last minute. It's like, no, take that out. So anyway, so this is something that Bubble Talk said. I don't think this is well, somebody posted the sequel will reportedly be no longer titled The Batman. Okay, so he's saying the same thing as earlier. I don't think that this is too deep. Matt Reeves said that in an interview that it's called The Batman Part 2, but officially on a paper, nothing has really swung yet. So the trades are reporting it as an official untitled. It's officially untitled. So he's dead on the money about that. Another thing I remember that James Gunn on one of the interviews during the press release for Creature Commandos, he was asked on the Happy podcast. I forget the name of the podcast. They asked him about if he ever thought about bringing the DC, the Matt Reeves Batman into the DCU. He said he talked about it, but he at the same time he understands that one of the greatest strengths of DCU in comics is that they have the best Elseworld. That you can argue with me all you want, but DC has the best Elseworld stories out there for none. And I think he wants to recreate that also with his DC Studios, where he has DCU continuity, and at the same time he has Elseworld that is just as strong. So that's why I'm like a little bit reserved about this idea of James Gunn, Matt Reeves bringing his universe into the DCU. Yeah, this is cyclical. This happens all the time. I don't know if you've seen this before, where when Brandon Routh was Superman, they brought in Christian Bale as being his Batman and his world fairness, and then when Brandon Routh was removed and then Henry Cavill was brought in, then they linked him up with Henry Cavill, and now we had David Carras, where now they were linking him with Pattinson. So this is cyclical. This happens all the time. This is not a new thing. So this happened. This is going to continue to happen. So that conversation is not going to end, even though James Gunn has been adamant about keeping those universes separate. Now, for Sharif Faruqi from the Faruqi brothers, he said this: "The Batman is one of the best comic book films in the last decade. I agree. It's a little bit boring for my taste, but I see, of course, I see that it's a good film. While Reeves is a perfectionist in his writing style, the 2027 delay raises eyebrow. David Zaslav said only wanted one cinematic version. That's a good point. David Zaslav said he only wanted one cinematic version Batman at a time. Whether there's an internal conflict at DC Studio between which Batman takes precedent, or if Reeves is simply taking his time, is puzzling to have so little context on such a high-profile film." Let me see if I could get a bomb with this. Yeah, you get a bomb, my friend, because that is perfectly said. Because I know David Zaslav said he doesn't want 4 Batmans or 4 Supermans running around. He just wants one cinematic Batman. And I always say it is a little bit daunting or hard to think that the DCU is gonna sit around 5-6 years to introduce their Batman to the universe. That is just gonna be a little bit difficult. So that's why I give more credence to the idea that it could potentially be writing his back-to-back film. He's gonna shoot him back-to-back, and then we're gonna get that film, because that will get we're gonna get those 2 films, and that will give enough time for Andy Muschietti to do his next film and then jump into the Batman, and he will put the Batman of the DCU in sometime in 2029, 2030. You don't have to quote me on that, but that's what it feels like it's gonna be like. Oh my God! So James Gunn just responded to my tweet, because to my post on Threads, because of course everybody's want to hear from the man. So I went on Threads and I asked him, "Hey, hello James Gunn, can you please confirm whether this is true or add some more context if possible?" And he said, "Sure, yes, it is true. So it is getting delayed. The only reason for the delay is that there isn't a full script, which is something that we knew for a while. Those of you who follow me here probably know that already. Yes, we knew that already. Matt is committed to making the best film as he possibly can. It makes sense because he's a perfectionist, like I said earlier. And no one can accurately guess exactly how long a script will take to write. And it's true because it's a big, you have to bring something forward that is as strong, if not better than the first one. Once there is a finished script, there is around 2 years for pre-production, shooting, and post-production on a big film. So it's gonna take 2 years to make the film which is in pre-production right now because it's been written to the time that it hits cinemas, which is actually 2 years from now, which is kind of putting it on par with the 1 year delay. So I guess, yeah, it's official. That's what's gonna happen. Unfortunately, listen, I know I want to get that film before that, but it's good to hear that they are still committed to this man to finish his film. He didn't go into whether they're gonna bring this movie into I think he already answered that question one too many times. I don't think he wants continue to debunk that. But us as fans, we just like to speculate and go into these little rants about what could possibly happen. Listen, there's no denying it. There's no way to prevent it. People are gonna make whatever they want about this, and they're gonna just go off the rails with this piece of news. Don't get too deep into it. Don't get dragged by the negativity, because this is what happens with these big budget movies, and then at the same time you have to couple that with this universe taking off. And to be fair and to be completely transparent and unbiased, Warner Brothers does have a bad track record when it comes to their DC films. So there you have it. So I'm trying to give you all aspects of this topic, so that way you don't feel like I'm just glazing James Gunn and DCU. But I just want to be unbiased about this piece of news. So let me know what you guys think about this news. Let me know your thoughts. Leave me a comment in the comment section.